Okay, so I think first on topic, Sal, I'm going to let you clear the air from your podcast a few weeks ago where you talked about mothers posting.
Oh, I thought you were going to like make me
pictures.
do another one because I was like, I have to apologize all the time on this podcast.
Yeah.
Do you?
Pretty much.
He offends people
sensitive.
left
I
and
offend a
right.
lot of people. Yeah.
That was before the podcast, though.
Yeah. No, I still offend people and stuff. If you want to get my sense of humor. No, I wasn't even talking about you, yeah, on that.
So,
So-
go ahead.
God. I was saying, to bring people up to date, there was a podcast that he had posted about, can you be a...
No, moms posting sexy pictures of themselves.
So it's like the selfie and it's, revealing or it's a sexy picture kind of thing.
And so coincidentally, I had a birthday and I had a pretty revealing shirt.
I thought it was
decent.
I thought it was a swimsuit, actually.
And so I had asked if he had, the podcast was regarding me. I don't care, but
Yeah.
he said no, but he
It actually
just wanted
wasn't.
to clear
You were the
air.
last person I wasn't even thinking about you and stuff. But now when Mandy brought it up, I'm like, oh, that's right. You did just post that picture. And I was like, no, I didn't even think about that.
Trust
But-
me, there's times where like, especially when just Sal and I are, and he'll be going on about something, and I'm just glaring at him like, let's move on, and then as soon as we get off, I like drop all the names. Were you talking about this
Yeah.
person the whole time?
But I think that's what I like about this podcast, honestly, is that it's just a real, not necessarily anyone in particular, but it's
Yeah.
just real open, honest, like what you think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't get that. You can't censor yourself forever. And
Yeah.
I wasn't offended by it at all, but I was just more of like, hey, do I get an opinion on it? Like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
do I get to speak?
Yeah, so what is your opinion on that, actually?
My opinion, I think it's great. You know what? I was working out. I worked hard to look good. It was my birthday. I'm getting older.
Yeah.
So I already had every intentions on what I was wearing.
Yeah.
I think that if it's to each relationship.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
think.
And-
I don't think there's a problem.
Mine isn't the kid thing, like, because we are all individuals, whether you're a mom or not.
FYI, I'm
Mine-
very sexist, that's why. so.
Mine is
Yeah.
mine is the relationship thing, and it's not you. Speaking other people that I've seen on Instagram, like they're married and they're whatever, and they have revealing pictures, and it just makes you question, like, I don't know.
But I think the other part of that podcast, the question was, are you seeking attention? And I mean, who doesn't post a picture for attention?
Yeah, no, that's
Like-
true, yeah.
Like, I worked really hard to get there.
Yeah.
But I think it's to every relationship, because some people care, some people don't.
Yeah.
I
know?
think it's how secure you really are in your relationship and stuff like that. Like, Jason and I had the conversation because he was like, we both know that our spouses would never do something like that because that's just not their style.
Mm-hmm.
So
But if it was their style,
I think it would be a really, really hard pill for me to swallow. I would probably get used to it. But it would be one of those like, all right, well, hey, my girl's rocking it. That's cool, But
I think you would probably, like, if that was
let me
how
check
we
your
are,
DMs though,
we would have been like that from day one, though.
Yeah.
Well,
So
and
your
I think
relationship
that's-
would have been built on that.
yeah, I think that's the
that's
difference,
true.
is that I'm not, Mandy's a little more conservative than I am at times, but I'm pretty conservative. But my relationship was built like that as
Yeah.
a whole. So if I go dressed out like that, it's that basic relationship and that foundation.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm not going to go check my DMs, see which person, if anything, it's like delete,
Yeah.
because I didn't do it for
You're
that.
like, damn, you look good. Yeah.
Wait, so this is
And on
super
another one, that dude's
random.
probably married, probably hitting you up too.
Right? Oh, I can tell you some stories on
Yeah.
that.
Exactly.
Another podcast.
On that same note, then, is it the same equivalent of a guy posting like a gym picture without a shirt on? I was thinking about that.
See, I'm very, very pro like me, and then very like.
You're sexist.
You're
Yeah,
sexist.
yeah.
I think so.
If it was like my daughter, like I'm like the same kind of.
But I think men think differently than women too, though.
Yeah.
Because if a man's posting photos about himself, he has some insecurity issues,
Well, here's my other thing though.
and probably in his relationship.
Here's my other thing though. So my always argument with this is that you can't put guys and girls on the same level, because in a sense it's so easy for a girl to just tell a dude, hey, let's go, we're gonna hook up, whatever, and a dude would be like, yeah, I'm down, But if a dude does that to a girl, the girl's gonna be like, oh no. So you can't really like, I don't know.
Yeah, but
Depending
if
on the girl.
But if a girl walked up to a dude and was like, "Hey, let's go," I don't think so. I think you're gonna be like, "Oh, damn, she may be a
Yeah.
loose person."
Loose person. You mean
whore?
slutty? Yeah. Yeah.
I thought we were trying to clean it up. I don't know where the
Or
line
slutty.
is.
I mean, you can say whatever. I think just topic wise. It's okay. I think we can say whore.
Yeah, but I also think that as much as you say, like, a guy would be like, "Damn, let's go,"
Question
they
it?
would be like, "Damn, she's a whore."
I know I would be like, I don't think so.
But would you hit it?
Nah.
I don't know. If I wasn't married.
Theoretically.
I thought that was a given. Depends how many drinks you're in, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Still like, yeah.
But it's,
But yeah, guys, I think it's a lot of insecurity though.
yeah.
They just want to like look at me, you know, like
Yeah.
check out
Yeah.
my workout, or check out, I look really fit now and stuff. You know,
Yeah.
So
But that's the same thing why a girl's posting. She wants that
Sometimes.
attention slash.
Sometimes. I wanted some birthday attention. But if you look at my social media, you don't see posts like that all the time.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, like most of the times, family, whatever. So I think that's the difference compared to, we're talking to about other people, and all you see is like bikini photos and a married ring, like a wedding ring.
Yeah, I
like
was-
then that's
I was
like
sorry.
okay.
Unless you're like making some solid money off of it, then I can understand that.
You know
But if
what's
you're not making money
hilarious,
off of that,
though?
then it's kind of
Is when you like those certain people who do just the selfie, but if you go to their stroll, like the selfie is the exact same selfie for
Yeah.
like a dozen pictures.
or filters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you see there was a meme or whatever of one of the actors, but he's like super wrinkly and stuff, and it had like a before, and then it has with the filter, and like he's like
Bro, a lot
20.
of actors are like really, really bad looking.
No, but it was just the like
It's all
this is
makeup.
the example of what everyone does on Instagram or
Oh, yeah.
whatever.
That's why you can't trust girls and stuff like because it's all fake. They all wear. That's why I like when you don't wear makeup. That's why you just work your little.
You told me put on my face all the time.
I mean, just your eye thing, right?
The eye.
Yeah, whatever your little
Mascara.
mascara. So
So on that same note of like spouses,
man, do you ever think about? Hold on, I really need to know on the outside perspective of things. When like you watch this, whatever, and Manny and I have certain conversations or something, like you have to like think like Manny's pretty strong to put up with me, right?
Oh, I thought that before the podcast.
Like
think
I was on my drive home and I was just thinking about that. I was like, man, somebody ever asked me like, why is Manny with you? I was like, I don't know why, but I was like, it's like realistically, it's like
I'll take that as cute.
it's like-
take what you can get here.
I was like, damn, dude. I was like, most people was like, dude, why are you with him?
Where's my
she
daddy
gets
issues?
you.
That's your daddy issues, I guess.
Okay, wait. So on that same level of posting pictures and in a relationship, if you had the body, I'm not saying that you don't, so you can rock it if you wanted to. So I told Sal, if I had the body, would you care if I wore a thong bikini? Would you wear a thong bikini, or do you think there is like, if you're married or if you're not, or that kind of thing, like parameters?
See, I'd have to draw the line there. But I still think it's based off of your relationship. I still think it goes back to the same. And then probably where you're from. Because I would assume, like, you're in Florida, you'd probably see a lot more of that.
Yeah. Well, 'cause
Well, so
the
we went
beach,
to
yeah.
San Diego, 3 weeks ago, and there was just tons of asses hanging out, pretty much. Whether it's a real bikini or just a small bottom.
And FYI, honestly, it's really, really uncomfortable to go to the beach nowadays because some of these girls, like, you have to, like, question, like, are you of age or, like, because I'm like, that's
How
why
about you just don't check out people? Period.
Well, no, I'm
Jeez.
just so first.
But how could you not?
Yeah, exactly. You have to and stuff. I say I'm
This
just
is where
sizing
this
them up.
topic's coming from. I was checking out their ass too.
I was
It's
more.
probably not real.
I wasn't checking them out. I was sizing them up. That's what I like to call it. I'm checking them out, sizing them
Sizing them up.
up. Yeah.
Does that work for, like, a female to say?
Yeah, I was just sizing them up. That's all.
Okay.
You're not checking them out. You're sizing them up. That's all you're doing. But yeah, no,
You
there's
need
a
those
lot.
horse blinders.
Oh yeah, the ones that no, it wouldn't work because then at that point, because then your eyes when you have sunglasses is the best because then you can go like your eyes can look. But then the problem with this is then you're doing this.
Well, at least we know then.
Yeah.
Right?
So Sal's sister, we were over there last weekend, and she was saying how she had a conversation with a coworker about, I guess it was like being a lesbian or being bisexual or whatever. And she was like, if I look at a girl and I'm like, oh, damn, she's beautiful, does it make me like bisexual or something? And her friend was like, if you can imagine yourself going down on her and okay with that, then yeah.
that can make
But
sense.
if not, then you're probably just
Right?
admiring
You're just
her
saying a
beauty.
compliment.
Yeah.
There's some
But I
good
thought
looking
it was
dudes out there. Yeah. But I don't think I'm ever going to go down
Do
on
you size
one.
them up too?
Yeah. So, size them up that way.
You're not like, I want to.
No. I don't want to blow that dude. No, that's not happening.
No, but I think going back to that question, it's the same thing. I think it's probably how they are in the beginning, you know, of a relationship. And I wouldn't, like, I don't want to go to the beach and see her ass.
No.
Right.
I'm not going to lie. If I had a hot body, I'd want to wear it.
Would you?
Yeah, I think she
But
would.
you've always lived in a bathing suit.
Yeah. As Megan once told me, man, I wish I had your confidence to wear a bikini and look like that or something.
But yeah, well, yeah, I think it's, like I said, it's all your confidence that you really have. Because there's some girls that probably should be like, I only should be wearing that, but hey, respect the confidence.
That's your confidence.
Yeah.
Nah.
And so.
Hey, but that's to each their own and loving your body. That's all that matters. So,
I still don't want to look at it.
very true. On that note, have you had to have the sex talk with your child yet?
I have. Did I tell you?
I must
Did I
not
tell you
have.
I ruined like Santa Claus and had the sex talk and did all that all at once?
Oh, really?
Let's just cut to the chase.
Damn. That was like a harsh conversation.
Oh, it was like the worst of my life.
So the
No, it was about a year ago.
so the
So she 12 or 13?
She's 12.
Okay.
so the reason why I was thinking about it was because I'm like, I think that's why a lot of these young girls get pregnant and stuff like that, because it really was, the conversation really started as like Hispanics and stuff like that, because in really Mexican families, it's very taboo to talk about. Like, you don't talk about that with your daughter and stuff like that. Yeah. Well, yeah, a lot of culture too, but I'm just, coming from a Hispanic family, it's very, very taboo in a sense to really actually have that sex conversation. Luckily, my mom's more Americanized in a sense that she actually had that conversation with me. That
I don't even think it's a culture thing. I just think it's like parents.
it starts as a culture thing, though.
A lot of
because
it.
a lot of
I
Hispanic,
would say
yeah,
that. I'd agree with that.
yeah,
Really?
a lot of it, yeah.
Because it's very taboo, and even and it's kind of like a blind eye. They don't talk about it. So
Why do you think Hispanic chicks are like 16 and pregnant?
Yeah, I think if you look at the statistics, it's like Hispanics,
Mm-hmm.
because and it goes back to like the culture and then the religion of it, and they don't talk about it. And even though we all know that your kid is having sex, we don't believe it and we don't talk about it, so it doesn't exist.
Well,
Yeah.
I think with a lot of Hispanic cultures though too is when you do a quinceañera for a girl, God eyes she's an adult now at 16. I'm like, bro,
15.
is it 15?
15.
Holy shit!
Quinceañera.
I was trying to.
Yeah. Quinceañera, 15.
Damn, whatever. I don't speak Spanish though.
Weren't you like the guy in like 3 of them?
Yeah, I was a chambelán in like 2 of them, and then I was like the little helpers on like 1 of them.
I've never been in one.
Yeah.
I just know it's 15.
That shit's intense,
But
yeah.
no, so we always talk about, she's 12, 11 then, but she was in 6th grade. They have these kind of conversations. I'm a nurse. So I always tell her about life. You want to talk about life. Isabel's a kind of shy child as is, so she doesn't want to talk about any of that.
Really?
And
I think
I'm
she's
more.
gonna be a comedian. I have a
She's
feeling.
funny.
Dude, I
She
know. I
is
was talking
but
to her.
I'm funny.
I think that chick's gonna be a comedian, dude. I swear to God.
She is so funny with her stuff, but she never wanted to talk about it. So, I let it be, whatever. And I would always say, well, if you want to talk about life, you're going to be singing on a video, like you might as well talk. I can talk to you about it. And so I just remember it was just when we moved into the house in Beaumont.
Okay.
Remember the commute, it's about an hour. Belle's still playing soccer out here. Like, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
And one day she turns down the TV. We're coming back, actually. She turned down the radio and she says, Mom, what if I want to talk to you about life?
Oh, shit.
Oh damn.
And I'm sitting there driving like, not today.
You're like, what time is it?
right? And she goes, and I said, okay, what do you want to talk about? And she's like, well, so I started having this conversation. I, at the time, didn't realize, because, again, I'm a nurse, I'm talking about ovulation and sperm. And talking to my sister later, I should have just talked about the birds and the bees.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about what happens when a guy gets excited. Oh, that's what it was. We watched, what is that movie we watched? It's with, help me out here, Baywatch. New Baywatch.
Yeah.
So in the Baywatch,
my boyfriend Zac Efron.
Yeah, Zac Efron.
Oh, when the guy gets the thing
guy
stuck?
gets excited and he
yeah.
gets it stuck in. Yeah, so we happened to do a family night like a few nights before that, and Isabel was like zoned in on that, and I was like, "Where's the remote? Turn it off."
What's stuck?
Like, so we just
stomach?
left it at that, and Belle was like, "What is that?" And I was like, "Well, if you want to talk about life, we'll talk about it."
Yeah.
So that's how that all came about. So a few days later when she asked this, and so I started talking about how he was excited and that's what happened. And then she just turns the radio. She says, okay, I'm done. And turns the radio back up. And then she says, she, a little bit later, like registered, and she goes, so babies don't come from storks. And she goes, next thing you know, you're going to tell me Santa's not real.
Yeah.
Damn,
And I was
that's
just driving like this, like, I didn't say anything, and she goes, are you kidding me?
Santa's not real. Yeah.
And it was just terrible. I just remember she was crying, and I'm like crying all the way home, and we get home, and she's like telling Victor, did you tell? She was like, ask my mom. She ruined my childhood.
Oh my God, I can't believe you did not tell me this story. This is the best. I'm like crying.
No, it was the worst. And then she was like, oh, and she's like, but thank God the Easter Bunny's not real, because that's kind of creepy.
Really? A strange man coming in your house and dropping you presents is not weird
but
enough?
you want your babies to stay little. And
Yeah.
Belle's, my baby, like, and so I loved her innocent, and I think she's a little more innocent than like I was when I was in 6th grade. And so she still slept with teddy bears, things like that. So I wanted to keep her innocence. But like when you have Zac Efron getting like his junk stuck in a big...
Well, it wasn't Zac Efron. I wish it was Zac Efron.
Whoever it was in the movie. Like, it was not a family
Don't
approved.
talk about Sal's boyfriend that way.
It was not a family movie. But yeah, it was really depressing. And she hated me. She didn't talk to me for like a week.
Really?
Yeah, because she said that was I lied all her life. She says, how do I know if you're telling the truth anymore?
Then you should have said, hey, you still have to believe in Santa if you want gifts, though.
Yeah, I think she protested Christmas the next year, and she put she wore a Sasquatch for her pictures, and it said believe.
That's awesome. See, that's what I'm telling you. This chick, I tell you, she'd be a comedian, man.
And I'm just like, you
freaking
just better
hilarious.
smile. I don't care what you're wearing. Like, whatever. You don't want to wear a Christmas outfit? Wear that. Go ahead.
That's honestly, that's pretty funny, though. She'll always have that story
Yeah.
to tell, like, when she gets older. Oh, my mom told me that Santa Claus is not real, and she had the sex talk.
But I think having the sex talk, that was pretty traumatizing for me. But having the talk in general is you need to be open like that.
Yeah.
You need to be open like that with your kids, because that is where your childhood, your teen pregnancies happen when nobody's talking to them. Like, reality is, like, they're going to have sex before they're 18.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
for sure.
they're going to have sex in high school. They're going to, you want to avoid all that.
I made a joke to Mandy. I was like, dude, dude's gonna be getting blowies in the spa and stuff.
That's not funny.
I'm just saying, there's gonna be, or from whoever, I'm just saying, because we don't know what. You gotta be open-minded now these days. So I was like, I'm just saying.
But it's the
gonna happen.
reality of it. And actually, I was looking at my niece the other day. Yesterday. She's 13, 14. And we are talking about how boring they are. I'm like, do you know what we did when we were that age?
That's
as
good,
a
though.
whole, though, just,
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, if they can just do this, like, great through high school, that would be wonderful.
Is your niece 8th grade or freshman then?
8th grade.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a grade older than Belle.
I'd say freshman's the turning point then, I think. The more...
But you get exposed so much. And remember, for Belle, 6th grade was middle school for her. So 6, 7, 8 is middle school.
Middle school.
Yeah.
I was actually pretty, I was pretty shy, actually. Like, nothing really happened to me until, 10th grade. And stuff, so.
But you still went out and you were still exposed to things.
Yes and no. And stuff like that. It was
What grade were you in the car when your mom pulled up?
sophomore. Dude, I'm telling you, my sophomore year was fun.
Oh, that's 10th grade,
Yeah,
okay.
and stuff like that, so. Freshman
hear
year
that
was
story?
kind of.
Oh,
You were there.
We were at the party.
You're there.
Remember when that guy kept telling us horrible stories about Sal, and then he told us the story about he was getting, and then the other car rolled up.
High school.
So do you think a mom should have the sex talk with her girls and a dad should have it with the boys, or does it matter?
I don't think it matters.
I don't think it matters.
Because my mom had the sex talk with me, and that was really weird. Because she had two of them with me. She had one when I want to say 12, randomly one day, and I remember because we were living in Corona, and she was asking me, she's like, "Hey, I don't think she said dick. I think she said like penis. Does your penis get hard in the morning?" And I'm like,
she must have found one of your magazines.
And stuff. Well, not magazines and stuff.
She must have came in to wake you up and was like, "Oh, I'm leaving."
No,
I'll wait
no. She asked me. She was like, and I said, "No, I don't think so." She's like, "Oh, we might need to take you to the doctors and stuff." I'm like, so the next day, it did and stuff like because I'm like, because it's something like you're just being so just like innocent. You don't really pay attention to that. You know, you're not really understanding until she brought it up to my attention, and that's when I started paying attention. You know, and then she had my second one, I think my freshman year. And she just, told me, like, dude, my mom told me, she was like, yeah, I get blowjob. I'm like, dude, mom, I don't want to hear.
Your mom said that?
Yeah, my mom told me that and stuff. And I'm like,
I think we need to push the boundaries with our conversation then.
Yeah, no, my mom was pretty like that to that point. And then she then was like, all right, well, I'm going to start buying you condoms and stuff. And then I think she got to the point that she stopped buying me condoms and stuff because but.
If I asked your mom, hey, do you still give blowjobs? Do you think she would like die?
I think she would just laugh. But,
yeah, but your mom's a little more open.
But I don't think my mom does give. My mom's very prude and stuff in a sense. Like my mom's kind of like pretty now in a sense. I don't think my mom's giving blowjobs out.
Like she gave them out to get out of Mexico, but once she got here, she's like living the life now.
I'm
just kidding.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know though. I don't know. I had some stories about your parents growing up, so
nothing has changed there. Let's just leave it at that.
Speaking of, how was your conversation with your parents?
Because
your dad's very, very open.
I think because your parents are so open that it was always.
It wasn't like that though. Like they never. There was an event that led to something.
They're not as cool as they used to be, or they're not as cool. No.
No, what I think is that you've always not been around it.
Yeah.
But like you've always been necessarily your family's more open.
Yeah.
That you didn't need to necessarily have that sex talk because you've already been exposed to it.
I think your structural base at
sense?
home was pretty good in a sense that like.
I do think that, but then back to your, like, being Hispanic in the religion part, I almost think the religion part with mom was, like, the
like, can't talk about it.
Don't see, don't hear, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. Like, it's only in the last couple years that...
She's loosened up?
That she's loosened up.
I think because I've been around.
No, it's probably Kate and Kate's horrible mouth. But, like, she'll say...
a lot of the religion stuff.
Mm-hmm. I think it's the religion thing for mom that it was you just don't talk about. A lady doesn't do that, you know?
But your mom just took you just to say, hey, we're getting you birth control and that's it?
Well, there's events that led up to it, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. So.
It was a lot of threatening, though.
Manny was
No, but there was other events.
I get why you got smacked a couple times. You're so...
I was an angel.
Dude, like, I've seen you when you're, like, when you get upset and, like, you get pretty aggressive.
Nah.
I think every woman does.
Right?
Probably.
I was an angel.
Have you ever seen me angry?
I don't think I have.
I don't think I've ever seen you angry.
It takes a lot.
Yeah, me too.
I'm pretty patient, but ask Belle who she's afraid of. Her
have
mom
you seen
or her
me
dad.
angry?
But I know if you're angry, there's a reason.
Yeah.
Saul did something dumb.
Right?
Probably. Anyway.
When you get that look down, I got that mom look, you know you've made it. Because I just can look at Belle and she knows.
That's going to be me with Zeke. I know that.
Zeke one day was like, Sal was like, knock it off. Or Zeke. And then he looked and both of us were like this. And he was like,
But that's going to be an interesting conversation to have with it, though. But what would you say, Manny? You were going to have that conversation with him, or am I?
I feel like it might just be like the environment he grows up in. just because we are pretty blunt 24/7. And then it would be when you get
His Aunt Kate is very around a lot.
like it's open talking about, and I don't think it's gonna be any hush hush.
Yeah, and I think what is about the reason we didn't, or I had it, is because she was I did shelter her a lot when she was younger.
Yeah.
Just because I knew what I grew up and was exposed to, I didn't want to expose her to that. So as she got older, she was still very shy about this stuff. Not that we weren't open to talk about it, but she was shy.
Yeah.
Which it's actually interesting because Manny was saying her sister actually, like, she'll talk to the kids and use actually the right, I think,
she talks like the actual like penis, vagina, all of that.
yeah, and I think that's actually great.
But I almost don't, because the kids walk around and are like penis, penis, penis. Like, I don't know.
what
yeah,
would you
certainly.
call it?
Yeah, what would you call it?
What do you tell Zeke?
I say
Your
his
pee-pee.
dick.
Your pee. So here's the logic on saying, and I saw something, I don't know if you saw it, but like when you have nicknames for like your vagina, your penis, things like that, then it makes it easier for like people to like molest your kid. And then like, oh, you know, do cookie things, you just hear all that. And I just think like as a nurse as a whole, like if my kid is hurting, I need to know it's from her vagina, not from her, like whatever you want to call it, a PB or a peep, what is that?
Her
Yeah,
Her,
that makes
whatever
sense.
you call it, you know. So it's just more like it is what it is, and the like, and it might be a cultural thing too, because not everyone's okay with you saying the word vagina, but that's what it is. It's a vagina.
Yeah.
You know, or it's a penis, or it is.
No, it makes sense.
It's more of like your comfort level, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you need to stop being a prude.
Do you think how Audrey comes up versus Belle in that conversation will end up being different?
Audrey's
What's the
such
age
a
difference?
different 10 years. So Audrey
will be more exposed to it via Belle.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But Audrey's just a different kid. You know, like personality-wise, they're complete bipolar opposite. Belle's always been that safe kid, and Audrey's like swinging from the ceiling.
Yeah.
And Audrey picks up everything that comes out of your mouth. Like I called the man an idiot today when we're at the gas station. She goes, "He is an idiot." And I was like, "Oh, where Isabel? She won't.
Yeah.
You know, she's never that kind. So it's going to be different with her." And I think that she's probably going to be that kid at 5 years old saying penis, penis, penis.
Just to make everybody laugh. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Our niece is pretty outspoken and stuff. Well, your niece is very outspoken and stuff. You know, but she's very, very to the point that like she's good, but you can tell she's gonna be, you know, a problem down the line. That she's just gonna be outspoken.
Maybe just a really like I think that with Audrey, if they're changing Zeke's diaper downstairs, she's gonna be saying that's a penis. I'll tell you. But she's either gonna be a very like bright kid that's gonna go far. You can tell she has that quality, or she's gonna be like such a trouble kid.
Yeah.
One or the other can go in two ways.
Yeah.
I think she'll be okay.
I think so.
You do a good job at parenting.
Yeah. I have to say though, I
always-
definitely a stamp of approval of your parenting. I actually like your parenting. You're one of the few people that I actually am like, okay.
I think of you when I try to hold it down and be firm.
It takes a lot. You get there though. But you know, I've grown up very humble. And I think I've grown up a lot different. So when I see my kids, like, I don't want my kid to be that brat that doesn't go say hi or doesn't say please or thank you or ask, you know, wait for your turn to talk kind of thing. So I don't know if you noticed even this morning with, like, Audrey putting her shoes where they go. I mean, they ended up in the closet, but, like...
It was technically by a door.
She needs to understand that these are rules for people's homes and you follow their rules. Like, you don't step on their pillows. Like some
jump
kids
on people's couches,
and I have kids that come over even to my house and they're jumping all over the place. I'm like, you guys, but at the same time, if it's my house, I'm yelling at those kids too.
Oh yeah, I'm the same way, bro. Like
nope,
respect myself. I'm just a big factor on just respect and stuff like, you know, just have that respect factor. You're gonna have a kid. The best, I always tell Manny this story all the time. The best thing my dad ever told me was. He's like, oh, it was my cousin named Carlos. He's like, oh, Carlos is so good and stuff. Like, no, he's not. I was like, dude, he's being a douche over there, you know, when nobody's around. I was like, yeah, that's good. He's presenting well, you know, in front of everybody, in front of the adults. He's all good, proper and stuff like that. But then, he knows his crowds and stuff like, and that's all it is. It's like present well, because in life that's what you're gonna need to learn.
It
like
goes far.
yeah, because at work I'm a completely different person, but here, I'm not. So
I wouldn't say completely different person.
I want to
You're
say
just
completely different, because you have to have that line of what Isabel says, I have the most professional telephone voice because I talk on the phone, for what I do. But I was like, yeah, you have to. Mm-hmm. You have to have that just different.
Knowing your environment. I think that's
I know you're upset right
90% of people.
I completely understand you.
Yeah.
You're lucky. Lately, I have not had my patience.
No?
No, I'm on the home stretch of 5 days to finish off probably 10 tax returns.
Oh my God.
And I call this lady, and the poor thing, she is losing it. Like, she's not there. Getting to this point, I've talked to her a dozen times, and the question's like, well, what do I need to get you? Your tax documents, anything that says 1099.
Yeah.
And then, like, the Friday, she's like, well, is that new stuff you're requesting? All these laws have been changing. Now you want more? And I'm like, no, it's the same thing you've been bringing every year.
That just changed.
Yeah, I feel bad. I feel bad when I lose my patience.
See, I can't lose my patience, though, because I get rated after.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Every patient you talk to, they'll send you a survey out. And so in the survey is like how they do. If they want to say good compliments, like send it back kind of thing. And it's just a good thing for you to hear, like, oh, you did a good job. But you probably don't want to make them mad.
I think
what's funny is though, like, I don't think she knows that I'm losing my patience because I'm just so like but like for myself, I know that I'm losing my patience with her and I feel bad, but she probably thinks I'm great still.
On that level, I lose my patience all the time.
Okay.
Well, I think that needs to happen more, because we have the same thing for work. We have an employee one and we have like a resident one that we all get rated as directors and stuff like that. So they all go out, and so we always have to like be a certain way. So like my executive director, like I'm doing some things and making some changes, and she's like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't approach it that way. But I'm like a freaking like not military persona style of it, but she's just, I'm like the.
Is this with your employees?
Yeah, and stuff as my employees and stuff like that. I'm like, I expect certain things because certain things haven't been done a certain way. So I'm like, no, this has to be done this way and this way and this way. It's just common sense, So I have to throw policies out there, this and this, and I'm like, and but then it's like I'm too aggressive when I do it. I'm like, but it's common sense. You're an adult. Like, why am I having this conversation?
You gotta slowly ease them into it, because then you gotta build that relationship. I'm the same way. I actually like my job because you can, you actually do get to do a survey on your management. And your management, I think there's like a criteria, like if they don't do good with a certain amount, like then they're put in a corrective action plan,
right.
Which is nice because I've had bosses that like just absolutely suck. And, you shouldn't be miserable where you work.
Yeah.
But
sure.
when you're the management part, it's a little tricky because in the long run, if you're a good manager, you'll build that respect with them. You'll be fine.
But it's like a catch-22 on that, because it's like I feel certain people take advantage of that satisfaction score and stuff like that too as well, because it's like, I was talking to a coworker, is like the bad outweighs the good a lot of times. You can do everything you can with your staff and stuff like that, but one day that you said something to them in a certain way, or you didn't give them that day off and stuff like that they requested, now that's what they hold in the back of their head now. So now you're gonna get a crappy score. So it's kind of like each their own on that part, because it's.
But will one crappy score really outweigh the rest?
Hopefully not. No, normally not. But we always try to hit like, around over 95 in a sense. When we get like somewhere in the 90s or something, that's not really good, because it all reflects on our bonuses.
Okay.
So before, from my understanding, is where we're at. Like people were bonusing out like to like 5,000 to 15,000, and that just like us as directors, not even the top.
Based on how much your employees liked you?
Yep.
Yeah. You obviously ain't doing well.
Yeah. Well, no, it's because
they don't like you.
So it's because technically, because we're a cluster, so it reflects on both communities. So
if the other maintenance guy wasn't doing good, then you get punished too.
Yeah, exactly. We like our QE situation. So if we get a really bad QE score, like for example, if it's a critical, then we're not gonna bonus out and stuff like that. So it has to be like you can get like a 90 or like 95, but if you get a critical, then that's where it kind of says, nah, sorry, you can't.
Yeah,
and that honestly just falls on care. you know, just, you know, not reporting something when somebody dies or, you know, losing meds or something like that. Yeah, that's a lot. So people always like taking meds all the time and selling them, or a lot of it's like narcotics that I've noticed that they try to dispose, but they don't really dispose of them. Mm-hmm. That's always a big one too. And so
sorry, the whole time you're thinking about like the employees and making you mad, what is, and this is not a work environment, it gets so quiet once the air turns off.
Well, I need to put WD-40 on that chair. That's the reason why I like the swivel though, because you can talk to both people. And that's why I did that.
You have to have it in the middle, otherwise I'd be like,
I actually like this spot. I think I'm gonna take this spot now.
See, I don't know. I'm gonna have to watch the video because I don't feel like the angles are good.
Right, that was kind of.
What, besides like being just cranky mad, what have you ever been furious? Like, what makes you get to the furious part? / can you even think of a time where you have?
Like at work or in general?
In general.
In general?
Because I'm like, I've never seen you furious either. Like, I could
probably...
probably...
I get mad. Ask Victor. It takes a lot. And I think it's mainly like... I don't know. It really takes a lot.
Right.
I think there's only been a few times, like, I've only, like, gotten really mad at Belle, like, a few times, and it usually stems off of something, like, she's being rude about.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you. But I think as a whole, like, it dampers I try to stay positive, but, like, when I'm doing all the work, or, like, there's, you know, Isabel's 12, Victor's an adult, like, when I'm doing all the work, plus, you know, my work, and then I come home and just consistently, like, have to pick up, like, I'm their mother, that'll irritate me. Where I'll be, but I'm passive aggressive first. But if the passive aggressive doesn't get it, then it's like, okay, I'm gonna have to yell at somebody.
Yeah.
Like, if you get the groceries and there's a thing of water and it's been sitting in front of the door for 2 weeks, like, why do I have to put it away?
Yeah.
But I'll send a picture.
See,
that's all I got to say.
That's passive aggressive. Why don't you just do it yourself?
Because why do I have to?
Well, because it's already there and needs to get done either way.
I know, exactly. But the person who got the groceries in should have put it away.
We would never work out.
What about...
It's just like petty. I'm saying,
what
like...
about outside of the family? Are you ever, like, furious with anyone else? And I don't mean to put you on the spot. Like, I can name, like, 2 times. Maybe... I know there is 2 times, but I can't think of the second.
I mean, there's only, like, I would say... It really takes me a lot.
Yeah.
Because I try not to let people, like,
okay,
ruin my mood.
I think we're all on that same
You know,
page.
like, it's not worth me, like, being in a gross mood. I think it's only, like, my brother.
Oh, okay.
My brother, he's just the laziest person.
Like, people make me upset, but I feel like if you dwell on it, and just, like, they're getting the best of you. So it's like, well, I haven't bothered, dude. It's like, have a conversation with both and not, you know... Her and I will have a conversation about whatever's bothering us, and then from there we just, all right, cool, we're good.
Yeah,
we don't want to hold the grudge anymore.
What's for dinner?
Yeah, what's for dinner? It's like, that's on them. Stuff, you know, we're just like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not going to affect us. It doesn't really affect us because at the end of the day, it's like, I tell man to this day, it's like, nothing outside of this house should ever affect us because realistically, it's just us 3. You know, that's all.
And
at the end, that's all that matters.
Baby, you guys have it easy.
Yeah.
Wait till you have a grown, like Isabel, she's grown, she can take care of herself, but she requires a lot as far as like school, like you're busy. My schedule's super busy because of her soccer and, you know, things she does.
Yeah.
But yeah, to me, it takes a lot to get me angry.
Yeah.
Going back to that.
I think that's good though. It makes us all on that same, like, it's just not worth it.
It's just not worth it.
I think that's why like I always tell Mandy, I think that's why our circle's so small. In a sense, because we surround ourselves with certain people. Like, I know my circle's really, really small and stuff. Like, I riskly, you know, there's maybe Jason, Isaac, and then, you know, Mandy and stuff. And then you, but, you know, but you're more of like an exception just because, you know, Mandy and stuff.
Really? I wouldn't be in your circle if I wasn't friends with Mandy?
Probably not. We wouldn't hang out without Mandy.
I like football.
Okay. Well,
really? Just so you know, when Sal divorced me, he thinks he's going to bang you.
Whoa.
Wait. While we're on this topic, because you know what? Your sister
That's really aggressive.
Same thing too.
Wait, what?
Your sister...
Oh, yeah.
I was like, what is with the Millers?
Okay.
No.
Well, I already told Manny, I was like...
It's okay, I told him I'm going to have to hook up with his sister.
That would make me furious, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Because he wanted... Like, I always say Isaac, because that's the best friend equivalent.
I'm like, that's cool.
But he's like, nah, that doesn't
That
matter.
doesn't affect me. I was like, yeah. I'm like, whatever about that one. But it was my sister, I'm going to get really upset. Because I know my sister would throw it in my face.
For the record, she is lesbian.
And her girlfriend kind of looks like you.
Yeah, she said white girls weren't her type, blondes weren't her type. Her girlfriend is a white blonde.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm your type. Anyways, back to cleaner subjects. What's your plans for Halloween? Do you
Mandy.
what? Are you trick-or-treating? Are you handing out candy? What's your safety feeling?
I wish I sent you a picture of my house. I already got a haunted house going.
Oh, really?
nice.
I do.
In the garage?
We have a black light and everything going on. No, we just started, my entrance is really deep.
Yeah.
And so I just did a lot of stuff in there so far.
Oh, that's right, because you guys have that.
So are you going to take the kids trick-or-treating?
I probably will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to pass out candy then? Probably.
I'll leave a bucket if I go out.
Yeah.
Our neighborhood, you get 50-50, but they're putting up signs on the houses that are trick-or-treating or allowing trick-or-treaters. So that way you're not wasting your time just going down the neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Originally, I was like,
so
last
afraid
year we were like, let's
Dude, a lot of people come out.
set up in the garage and like hang out outside, and do like a bonfire handout.
Yeah.
And so like I kind of still wanted, I told my neighbor a couple weeks ago when they were over, like, oh, let's we plan on being out here still, So that was kind of how I left it last, but
I think it's still a good idea. I think, and it's good though, because your dad loves to pass out candy. So I'll just prop up a chair and stuff out for him right there in the garage, and it's now set up for it now. So
we can even pull that bonfire thing out.
Yeah,
maybe.
exactly.
Would you say that you guys are less fearful because you guys have already had COVID?
Well, I haven't had it.
Oh, you haven't. That's true.
Not really. I think it's, I don't know. I think it's just it is scary, COVID and stuff like that. But at the same time, is like, are you still not gonna? Like, I don't know how.
I think it's the like not living life part. But then like if I sit back and like really think about it, I'm like, what if I'm that 1% that dies at 30 on a
here's my
ventilator?
biggest
Like
thing.
that does scare me a
Here's
little.
my biggest thing, and not gonna get into politics or anything like that and stuff. But I think there's so much else behind it that controls this whole COVID push and stuff like that. That the numbers and stuff that changes, and the death toll for COVID and stuff that there's so much. There's so much behind it and stuff that
What'd you say?
He's one of those.
No. But obviously, I think there's numbers behind it. There's a power trip
forget
behind
that
it.
you've had COVID? How about forget the numbers, whatever the numbers are? Forgetting that you've had it. When you came back and you really put a conversation, you did say, "Yeah, I kind of woke up a few nights like couldn't breathe." Like that doesn't put it in perspective a little. Like forget the numbers.
No, not really.
But you also don't care if you die tomorrow.
I've actually accepted that.
So numbers are
I'm not
not
gonna make it
numbers. Like, it's a worldwide thing.
Yeah.
Numbers are numbers, because how can you really trust numbers, period?
But if you're in the healthcare field, like I'm in the healthcare field, I see that the numbers match the data. And so maybe that's a different input of you.
So, okay,
like,
go ahead, sorry.
you don't, and you don't work in the healthcare, but you kind of do. But like when I say, like, we work at we see the hospital data, we see the data with the diagnosis, the confirmations. So it's hard when you see other people saying like, oh, the data doesn't match the deaths. Yeah, it does, according to my perspective.
So what if like the certain death that they just put like they were doing like people were dying, but they're like, oh, we'll just put COVID killed them.
But again, you're not a doctor. You wouldn't know that. That's rumor down the street.
What people don't understand is that when you get to COVID, like you don't die, let's say, HIV. You don't die of HIV. You don't die of AIDS. You actually don't die of cancer. Okay. But what happens is it affects your body so much that another thing pops up, like, starts to fail, like heart failure. And so then you have a heart attack because your heart is under so much stress because of the COVID. And so, yeah, you might have had a heart attack, but your underlining of it all is COVID. COVID caused it.
But isn't this because people are like for like having like health issues, whatever, right? But shouldn't this be a wake up call for a lot of people that are in a sense that really don't take care of themselves? Like in a sense, like there's like.
Was it a wake up call for you?
No.
So how do you expect different for others?
I just feel like I'm cool. I'll still be active and stuff like that. I think I should be fine with that. But I won't eat like my biggest thing is probably drinking and stuff like that. But other than that, I really don't eat shitty food all day.
Yeah, but your drinking does enough to.
No, I don't think so.
Without putting you on blast?
No.
We can go into a different thing. I can educate you on this. But, it's like a diabetic who got their foot cut off. Are they gonna get right now and start eating right and take care of themselves? No, they're still. Then you watch them get the other foot cut off. I do this all day long. Then it's the dialysis. And
why do you have to cut the foot?
It's usually the foot that goes first.
Like it just dies out.
No, it's because if you're diabetic, your sugars are out of control. So when you get an infection, it pretty much like the sugars will get fed by the infection, and so it takes a lot longer for it to heal. That on top of other things.
Why is
so
the
usually
foot like
Yeah,
the?
why is
because
the
it's
foot
the
the primary?
lowest part of
That's
the body,
okay.
the circulation wise.
That's
And
Okay.
so diabetes also affects everything else, your
So
capillaries,
that's the last
your
part
flow.
that it goes through. Oh, okay.
And so usually it'll become like your foot doesn't get enough oxygen, it doesn't get enough blood flow, it doesn't get enough everything. And it ends up, usually if you notice a diabetic who's uncontrolled, the first thing that goes is their feet, the other foot, and then it just kind of goes up from there. But it's just what you see.
Yeah.
So, back to the whole COVID thing, I've had COVID and I wouldn't say that I'm scared of it. I'm still cautious of who I'm around. If I'm around people that I know that are everywhere and anywhere, I choose not to be around them.
Yeah.
Because I still have side effects from it, and I don't want, like, my kids, I wouldn't want to put my kids at risk for it. We don't know the long-term effects of it. And
Yeah,
that's
that's okay.
my only thing. It's like, you don't know. Like, look at, I think I told you guys before, like, polio. Like, people who got polio as a kid are now, as adults, having post-polio syndrome, where, now they're paralyzed and they can't walk.
Oh, jeez.
And it's all based from a virus they had when they
Yeah.
were young. So we don't know enough about it, and I don't want to be that person.
Yeah, because even into that too as well, that even now there's people that from the military that are dying because are dying from other things now, because like I was listening to somebody that was saying that in Iraq when they were burning I think they're called 24-hour fire, they're all day fire, they're on fire throughout the whole year and stuff like that, so just trash can feces and stuff like that, but they're near
the
them
chemicals.
the chemicals, so and it's really hard for them to breathe and stuff like that. But now these guys are having these symptoms so their symptoms are completely different now in 2020 instead of what it had been, in 2001 or in 90s, 80s, back, because now it's a whole different war. That now this is a whole nother way to treat it and stuff like that. How do you treat this? We don't even know what's going on because they're inhaling this thing all day long, every day.
Well, so I think it's the Vietnam, and I don't know the first word. It's like Agent Orange, something orange, that they were exposed to, and that creates health problems.
Oh, really?
And then you can be considered disabled because of your health problems because of all that now.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the Vietnam one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, and so it's like I'm not gonna be so fearful for my life where I'm not going out and about. I mean, you probably don't take Zeke anywhere and everywhere to the stores and stuff, right? Like, or you're.
Oh, you've been taking them out, Mandy?
But like, if I have to, I have Audrey here today,
Yeah.
But I'm a little more cautious. I'm gonna live my life, but it's more like the kids. I
Yeah.
think the mental health aspect for the kids too, like Isabel, she's in middle school.
Yeah.
Like
That
she
sucks
needs,
though too.
yeah, she needs that socialization. So I'm gonna go. I'm just a little more cautious.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Wait, so if you're not getting into politics, but if you're like the numbers are fake, it's all a political thing, and it's a worldwide epidemic, do you feel like the whole world is in the U.S. conspiracy? Like, do you think the numbers throughout the whole world are
I
made
honestly,
up?
I'd
Look at
rather
that
not. No, because I can go in. I'd rather not and stuff like that. But
Okay.
like, I can go in the deep rabbit hole and stuff like that. What really
Jump in the rabbit hole and listening.
and stuff. Well, no, I'm just saying because you go into in the sense that there's realistically a control factor at the end of the day is America's not owned by who you guys all, in the sense that we think that it owns America and stuff like that. There's a 1% that really controls everything. In a sense, it's a control factor. So realistically, in America, yeah, I get it that is America, you see it as our country, but overall, there's only a few people that control everything and stuff like that. That's what I'm getting into. But that's a whole nother deep rabbit hole. I can go with conspiracies all day long and stuff on that. But
I want to go back to, like, if I see the numbers in the hospitals and I see the deaths in the hospitals and I see the numbers are, pretty much equal to the deaths,
I just
like, how
don't
do you
trust
explain
anything.
that?
That's all. I honestly just don't trust.
But how do you
anything.
explain that?
Like I said, I don't trust anything that the numbers and stuff like that.
So that's why it's like, but then again, like my sister said, if she didn't know, because I'm a nurse, like if she didn't hear the talk that we talk, she wouldn't believe it was real. If you don't see it all the time and you don't watch it
You
all
don't
the time,
see it, you don't believe it?
Yeah, but there's not that many people that have that work at a hospital like we do. That see the actual things, that actually get the data because we work with the health plans.
Yeah.
Like, you know, maybe I wouldn't think it's so real either. Because if you go outside right now, it's like any other day.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
most people don't wear masks. Most people, you know, do what they want other than.
Dude, Norco, I'm pretty sure nobody's wearing masks over there. I went to
Oh.
the store. God.
That's a whole
Dude,
other
Norco
issue.
is out of control over there, bro. Like,
No one had masks on?
well, I went to the gas station and stuff like that, and I'm pretty sure people were walking in and out without masks and stuff like that. Like, hey,
Well, they were the ones also protesting.
yeah, there's a lot of
Trump supporters
Trump
in
supporters over
Norco?
there, yeah, and
Yeah.
stuff like
I
that.
didn't want to say that.
Oh, there is, it's like, yeah.
Have you
And
been to
so-
get Kaipa lately?
Oh, really? Dude, there's been a lot of Trump supporters lately. Like the one in Irvine when I was leaving, there was literally some Trump supporters.
There's
Let
a
me
whole
ask you
big
this,
thing
though.
at Marietta yesterday.
So why do you say Trump supporters don't wear masks? Why does it make it a Trump supporter?
That's a good question.
Why?
Yeah.
Because
Why can't it be a Biden supporter?
because
Independent supporter?
Because most Biden supporters are are the ones that are. Yeah.
See,
Right? See, there you go.
That's hard. No,
I think because
it's not
Trump
even that.
has been anti COVID and not really into it, that I
Yeah.
find that most
That-
people who are not who are like anti COVID are also Trump. Like they
I
have
agree.
the same views.
I mean, I agree, but it was a question that was asked before, and I said, yeah, you're almost stereotyping saying that. But at the same time, why do you find that most people who have all these racial slurs and things tend to be Trump supporters?
No, because they just.
Have you seen that trend too?
Well, yeah, I've seen that most people. That's what, and that actually was funny because I was showing Manny a video that it's kind of interesting that like now when people like wave the American flag, like being too American is racist at this point, and it's crazy. Like you can't. And I've noticed that most people always look at the American flag as something as like Trump or something like that. It was not like just we're a
Right
country.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And stuff.
Oh,
And
I
it's crazy.
agree.
Like it's
I would
not.
put a flag up, but I won't right now.
Yeah, exactly. Because everybody thinks, oh, you're a Trump supporter, or if you put like
if you put American flag up, they think you're a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
yeah, for the most
I
part,
would
yeah,
say that.
yeah, I would say you're a Trump
Dang.
supporter,
Yeah.
or if you put the
up
cop
until
flag.
the last year, just because our
say that.
flag was ripped, I rocked our American flag
Yeah.
just to rock it.
But
Or-
see,
or even the
before
cop
this,
flag, yeah.
yeah, I would put, because, it's become so, I feel like there's like this war that you don't even see right now, but there's this war with like, you can't be prideful with anybody else. And if
Yep.
you're prideful with America, it's because you support Trump. And that's not the case, obviously, but that's how it's perceived. Just the same way you said Trump supporters all
Yeah.
don't like masks, or you see so much hate that's coming from that end of things.
Yeah.
You know what would be cool is to pick like 20 people, just a wide variety of different race, economical, all of that. 20 different people that you didn't know their views at. And let them like walk forward, say a few
Yeah.
statements and walk back, and then vote who you think they are, and to see the different things. Because I think it just depends on, like for me personally, I think when it comes down to it, I'm going to look at a few things that are important on both sides, and because they both have negatives. You're just going
Just
to
like
have to pick
anything
and
else, it's
choose
politics.
what's more important. And I think that's like when you look at people, like I can look at certain people I know and I'm like, well, the business aspect of Trump, and like they might not agree with other things,
Yeah.
but they like his business aspect, so that's why they go with Trump. Or Biden because of this or that. Like it's just crazy that you just pick what you can, and you have to just disregard the ugly of that person or the what you don't like to some extent.
Well, no, it's to a lot of an extent. And I think that's the hardest thing that they always say when you make decisions, you got to take your emotions out of it. But there's so many emotions playing
at
on a
this
lot
point-
of it that at this point, it's how could you?
Yeah.
And I think that we should all go back to the back in the day where they say you don't talk about religion or politics in
Right.
places, because even we'll be some casual place and someone mentions something and it becomes, oh, wait, you're voting for him? And it's like,
It's that
Yeah.
extra now. It's just been. It's
It's so
just
sensitive.
I think now it's just with media now, with social media, with you can have it at your palm of your hands in a sense that you can get updated on a tweet or something like that. So now you're looking at you get upset, or you can go ahead and write a comment back and not really. There's no feeling behind it, because guess what, you have what's that, keyboard whatever.
Keyboard Webos.
Yeah, exactly, in a sense. And there's nothing behind it. Like you can just say whatever you want behind a screen, and there's no repercussions behind it. So it's like, so everybody's gonna have the balls now to say anything. But it just, before, I think politics has been been so crazy. There's always been issues with it, but I think now with social media now that it's just created
It's so much more accessible.
Yeah.
I just think if people are going to post stuff, regardless of who you're voting for, actually look into it and have the facts. Because I think that's my biggest pet peeve. And I try to, again, like just, do my education, my research on stuff. But you see people posting up the most ridiculous, absurd facts that aren't facts.
Yeah.
And so it's like you're putting such the wrong message, and some of these people are pretty influential, and then you have other people like resharing it, and
exactly, and then
it
gets people upset, and that's why you kind of just like, dude, that's not the place to do it.
Sal's biggest pet peeve is like people who put things up that don't. You're not an activist or something, like putting something on your social media and not changing in your day-to-day life, or not like
so for
practice
example,
what you preach.
Whether it's time, whether it's money, whatever, you putting something on social media for someone to stroll by doesn't change.
So I had an argument, not an argument with my sister, because my sister's huge on like politics and stuff. Obviously living in Portland and being lesbian, so she's very liberal on certain things. So I text her. I text a group about something about football, whatever. She's like, "Oh, a bunch of stupid people, that don't care about social awareness or something like that." And so what I did is, that Sunday, all of them were protesting. They were all like on their knees and stuff like that. They were but I'm like, dude, that's social awareness in a sense, So you can't sit there and say that the football players are not trying to do social awareness, but a lot of them, they do donate and do a bunch of stuff like that. What upsets me is with people that say I'm bringing social awareness, but you're realistically not. You're not doing anything with your time to bring
save the children.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much. You're not saving the children in a sense. All you're doing is saying,
just sharing.
Here you go. And I'm social awareness now. Like, dude.
Don't get me wrong. I want to save the children too, but I've yet to see a foundation, that's actively involved with people's hashtags.
Dude, you know who I actually really, really foundation I really want to look into? Tim Tebow's. And stuff like he has one that it's the sex trafficking one for kids and stuff like that. Like he's really, really big on that.
And that's the thing, like why don't we, and I agree, like I hate when people put up like, oh, prayers for this, what are you doing about it?
Yeah.
And I get that you want to, be a support by putting it up there and say like, let's put the screens black for a day, but like what are you accomplishing?
Yeah, you're not
It's almost back to the pictures of ourselves. It's an attention thing. An attention thing of, oh, she cares or he cares or whatever, but really if you're not doing it,
you don't
what
really
are
care.
you doing
when you
about
really care about something, you really, really care about it. You just want to join the group and say, "Oh, honestly," and a lot of the stuff that's being pushed, it's the white guilt and stuff. A lot of this, I've noticed a lot of stuff is a lot of people that try to push it is the white guilt and stuff. But most
define white guilt.
In a sense, like people feel that like they're obligated now because they oh my god, like yeah, you're right, you've been treated so poorly, this and this, or for some way like that, but that's not your fault though. You're 20 something years old and stuff like that. How is that your fault? All you can do is make a change. From this day on forward, you make a change and stuff like that. You're moving forward, but you don't have to apologize what happened 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and stuff like that. That's not your fault.
So I've seen when this whole Black Lives Matter, happened. Obviously,
it's funny.
I'm not
we
black.
totally talked about we weren't going to talk about stuff like this,
right? I'll talk about this all day. Yeah. But I'm not black. I have friends, but I've always taught everyone we love everybody. Yep. So maybe when all this happened, I wasn't such of like, oh really? Because I've known about it. But I still educated myself. There's a lot to do to educate yourself on this scenario. There's a lot I didn't know. Like you couldn't even marry in a different race up until 54 years ago. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. That's like our parents' lifetime.
Yeah.
Or how long ago segregation still was. That kind of stuff. So you educate yourself on that so you can be better. Mm-hmm. But then you see there's two sides. And the other side of it are the people who feel the entitlement of, oh, I did nothing wrong. Why should I have to suffer? Mm-hmm. And it's not about suffering. It's the social awareness and understanding what other people go in. Yeah. We had this conversation the other day where one of the ladies was saying, if you don't create the crime, they won't shoot you. And I was like, really? How do you think like that? Because my logic is they don't have the right to shoot you regardless.
Yeah.
But other people feel differently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I 100% agree and stuff. But at the same time is don't put yourself in situations that you're not supposed to be in at the end of the day, you know, because a lot of people do have handguns stuff like that are not even they're not even registered handgun stuff like that. So don't put yourself in situations you're not supposed to be put yourself in a situation for, right? There's gonna be consequences at the end of the day, which I 100% agree with you. Don't
Your life shouldn't be lost over.
Yeah,
period.
your life should be locked
I
over,
think
over something like that. So
that was more of my culture shock when she was explaining it. Because I could be at a family's house.
Yeah.
I can be at a cousin's house, and let's say it's a cousin's house who maybe isn't the greatest cousin, and I get in the crossfire and my life is lost because, just because of a series of things. And the way she was explaining it, it was like, well, that's what's wrong with the country. I think that we all can better ourselves when you talk about like the police system and stuff. I love our policemen. Do I think that there needs to be some sort of education and re-education? Yeah. I think as a nurse training,
I said defunding is the wrong word.
Yeah,
reallocating, I think, is needed.
Yeah.
Instead of pushing a police officer who's worked 5 days straight, with horrendous overtime, and that's the person carrying your gun. How about you hire more so that they can get rest and you don't have someone trigger happy /
and
you
it's the stress. It's the stress of it too.
And it's education.
But other stuff,
the training of it. I said,
mental and all of that.
Us as nurses, like, we have to get trained. We have to have certain CEUs every year. Doctors have to have CEUs to get retrained and then recertified, relicensed to make sure that we're still, not suffering from PTSD and we're capable of doing the job. And I think that that's more of like what we should be doing. There's so many things autistic, autism, things like that. Like, I don't work in the police force. I don't know. Does that mean I don't support our policemen? No, that's not true. I do. I think it's great. But I think also me being a whiter skinned colored person, I feel safer going around the neighborhood that I think that a darker skinned person wouldn't. Like, I have the privilege to do that. And that's what I think.
Depends what neighborhood you're in.
Depends, right? But I think when I was having a conversation with that girl the other day, it was more of that she couldn't see that her skin tone is the reason she can say that.
I'm going to be realistic with you, is that when I'm around, I feel like I can walk around any place without being, harassed of that. But that's just me myself, because I know for a fact I'm not doing anything wrong, period. Regardless of skin race or not. And so I'm Hispanic and stuff like that. If I go to Arizona, you think I'm like, it's just stuff like.
So when we went, because I remember this being a topic when we went back. So when we were down in the like South Carolina, North Carolina,
dude, they're still back in like the 90s.
When we did that thing, did you ever feel out of place? Or care?
I honestly just was more shell shocked in a sense, because how many black people were actually around and stuff like that. That was more of just like, wow, I've never like. That was like my first experience on that, but I never felt out of place. I've never felt out of place in any place I've ever been, and so that just because of just my own mindset on things. Like, I'm not doing anything wrong. If you want to be racist towards me, go for it and stuff like that. If that makes you feel better as a person, that's fine.
But do you think also you never had that feeling because you are lighter skin?
Oh, for sure.
I'm still Hispanic though. I still look Mexican.
Not to me. If I didn't know you were Hispanic. Would you know I'm Hispanic?
Nah.
I'm half Mexican.
It's hard.
I'm half.
Well, it's kind of hard and stuff.
And depending on what I'm doing, I might use the white side or the Mexican side. But but I think that's part of what I was trying to explain, is that alone. You know what? I have friends who were saying, did you know that Walmart, until recently, Walmart used to lock up all the ethnic hair products.
Really?
Yes. You wouldn't know that though.
Not because I don't buy any of that
But
stuff.
why would it be locked up? Why would that make any sense?
But here we go. Back to numbers, though. Back to numbers. If they're noticing that these items are always being stolen, then I'm going to go back to numbers. So obviously I have to start locking this number up, because guess what? And not to racially profile, because not all black people get these, because my uncle has gotten black, I shouldn't say black products, but those kind of products and stuff like that, because he needed to straighten his hair because he had curly hair. So he had to straighten his hair, so he had to get this product and stuff like that. So not necessarily it has to be.
But in a sense, it's racially profiling as a whole, because there's a lot more expensive products to straighten your hair that could be stolen. A lot more expensive, because that cheap product.
But what if it's not being stolen though? What if that's the kind?
Walmart can't help. Why don't they lock up all of it?
Because that product's not getting stolen, whether
well,
it's
for
$50
whatever reason,
or not.
it's not locked up anymore. But I think, I just think being aware of like certain things like that. Like you've never been to the store where someone's following you. Right? I've talked to friends, but you never noticed it. I've talked to friends who say they can't bring a big bag into the store because they'll be followed.
Well, I think in general, anybody brings a big bag in the store.
I have a big bag. I carry my life in my purse.
But do you ever think about it sometimes? And this is just me just thinking outside the box here. Do you ever think about it that some people go to stores and already have that mindset that I'm already going to be racial profile? If you go into that mindset already, now you're being cautious of yourself, and now you're creating a whole nother beast in your own head that you're building it up.
I wouldn't say a mindset. I would say that they were raised that way because of experience. Or they were raised that way, or they've had the experience. It might be a culture thing. But I was saying, I think we had this conversation before. Like, even back to that girl that I was talking with, too. She was like, well, they don't get loans because they don't want to get loans. Like, they don't have houses because they don't want to have houses. They do crime because they choose to do crime, regardless of the color. And we went back to, back in the day, how they were called red lines, where certain people with lower incomes happen to be Hispanic or Black, were in these red zones. And if you're in these red zones, you couldn't qualify for a loan. You're automatically excluded. And so it's a tier of all that. So I'm like, well, how would you explain these people who are already set, like, 3 steps back from a person who is a lighter skin, could be even the same neighborhood. Let's say that red line's right here. How come they can get a loan and you can't? You guys can have the same job opportunities.
I don't know. It
can go on forever.
Yeah, it can go on forever.
I'm just saying, just being aware and educated on that matter is the purpose of it. I think.
Yeah. No, definitely being aware of and educating yourself on certain things, because it's like, regardless of if you go back to history and stuff, every single race and it's and not to pick on white people, but they've always been the primary one and stuff like that controls a lot of stuff, because there's stuff even with Hispanic. There's people that have come to this country and stuff that have been pretty much suppressed a lot of times stuff and I was doing some research on like the Hispanic people coming over back and forth. They pretty much had a concentration camp for Hispanics that were coming over. They were throwing that stuff that you spray on the field and stuff on them and delousing them and all this other stuff like that, just to come into the country.
I think you have to take all that with not with some kind of grain of salt, because like the Irish people that came to America were treated horribly. Irish went to Mexico and fighted on Mexico's side.
Oh, that's the other thing. That's true.
Each of it has its own.
It just so happens to be a lot of it has to do with white people. But I think as a whole, I find that it's more white people.
I think we really got to figure out. I think we got to figure out on white people.
I've had these conversations because I think these conversations are good, but I'm not saying I just think that we can all educate ourselves, and I think the most resistant color of skin I've noticed is a white person. And it can just be generalized. It's just the people I'm talking to. But they have more, I've noticed on the conversations, more of an entitled of why do I care? Where I'm more of like, I come from a Hispanic background too. Victor's family worked in the fields too, so it's, you want to educate yourself. And it's not to say that you did anything wrong or a white person did anything wrong, but like, what could we do better?
Yeah.
Like, how could you be a little more culturally sensitive to, like you said, the concentration camps, like those existed even today. Nobody wants to talk about the field workers that are coming, why? Because no one's going to do that job.
A lot of Filipinos actually came over here. They were field workers too.
Yeah.
There's a lot. That's why there was a program with the nurses and stuff with the Filipinos. That's why there's a lot of Filipino nurses and stuff. But Filipino nurses are all over though.
Well, because in the Philippines, the only way to get over here back in the day, and it's changed recent, like in the last few years, is you can come over here on a work visa if you were an engineer, if you were a nurse, because they needed that at that time. So when that all came about, that's why you'll find that they're nurses or they're engineers.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think all we can do now, and obviously being in California, is all we can really do is educate ourselves, and to the point that says, all right, we're aware of the situation around us as a fact, and just teaching our kids to that, experience, because kids are not born racist and stuff like that, know. Just like a dog is not a bad dog, you just got bad owners in a sense, right? Same thing with your kid and stuff like that, it's That's what you have to do.
And
You have to just
you know what? And
teach your kids.
You teach your kids right. And I said that's what it comes down to. You teach your kids to be a good person, that we love everybody. And that's pure. I tell my child that all the time.
Yeah.
You know, we love everybody. Don't be a bully. Like, stand up for someone if you see that they're being picked on.
Yeah.
And that's what makes you a good human. And I don't think that there's anything wrong for any sort of ethnicity or race or whatever to have that, that cultural ignorance, I guess, because it's not their culture. They didn't come from Hispanic background. So, for an example, you know, you go see your family and you hug everybody, right? That might not be something a Caucasian person knows.
Yeah.
You know, Mandy knows because she's been around enough of it.
Yeah.
But it's something
Doesn't
like,
make it less awkward.
right? But it's awkward where it's a cultural thing. So you could be seen as being rude.
Yeah,
You're being
absolutely.
rude, stuck up, whatever. But it's a cultural. It's just more of like now, and so you might make more of an
Yeah,
effort.
there's a reason
Yeah.
why there's certain people say, "Oh, we call them don something, whatever." Or so that just a respect
Right?
factor when you call somebody something in Hispanic culture.
But
it's
you're
all
educated,
respect, yeah.
right?
Wow.
And so I think it's the same as this whole thing with like the police brutality. You just become educated, so you can become a little more sensitive to the matter instead of
Yeah.
just ignoring it.
Yeah.
Because ignoring it's just gonna make you look rude.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can't just ignore and say, "Ah, whatever, dude."
But so many people do.
You can't you can't ignore what's really going on right now and stuff. That's definitely you can't do that. So
And I agree. You know what? You shouldn't be in situations or places that probably, that the cops might raid at any point in time. Probably not the best environment, but sometimes that's the only environment.
yeah.
Look at, Victor, all his friends are all in Compton. Like,
Yeah.
not to say they're all bad people. They're all great people.
Yeah.
But look at the area. I think
Yeah.
it was just rated the third worst city in, like, the country.
And there's all just
Yeah.
a trickle effect on that just because of what they have had to take care of at their area and stuff like that.
Goes
And,
back to those red lines.
Yep. No, it really does.
It does.
Yeah, it really does.
Okay, we gotta move on.
Once.
Anything else?
Then I got it. No.
You got anything?
No, I can't
Let's
think of
plug
Oh.
your VNS creations.
Oh wait, hold on. Before that, hold on. I wanted to ask you something. So, to our culture and stuff like that, and just our generation. I was telling Manny because I'm in assisted living. Do you think that industry will die out because of a lot of new millennials, a lot of our kids, our age kid and stuff like that, they're not really putting into retirement or they're not really looking for the future. We're all looking for that quick dollar. Do you think eventually that's going to die out? Because the industry that I'm in, we don't have programs in a sense that we go ahead and a lot of these people are paying out of pocket.
Yeah,
You know?
other than your medical waivers.
Yeah, exactly. And stuff like that.
No, I think they'll have to find a different system to accommodate the population, kind of like they did with like the Medi-Cal waiver program, because they found that there wasn't enough people saving for their future. I just think they'll have to find a different way.
I think just as much you're like this generation looking for the next dollar. I think this generation is cares about themselves. So I think they'd rather pay someone to go take care of their mother than bring them home. I think they're like, oh, I'm not going to take care of them here. I'll just work another job so I could pay for, that kind of thing. But I don't think it's going away at all.
No, I think a lot of that's cultural too. Because if you
Oh,
notice in
absolutely.
like assisted living, you'll find there's a specific culture or a specific
Yeah.
race you'll see versus other races. You won't.
Yeah.
You just won't. And a lot of
yeah.
it's because culturally they keep them at home.
And not to get on this, but I rarely see any Hispanic people in those.
I don't want to say it, but
Yeah.
You
But they
also work
exist.
in Irvine.
Yeah, well, that too.
But if your mom becomes of age, would you have her live with you, or you would send her to a home?
She going to home.
No,
Just kidding.
I think either she's gonna depending.
She wouldn't live with us. That'd be the straight answer.
Yeah.
She would go with either the daughters. She wouldn't live with
She'd
us.
probably
but
go with my
She was
sister.
gonna be homeless like a few years ago, and she'd rather go live with her brother who like lives in the dirt. Not really, but
But you would make sure she was with a relative versus in an assisted
yeah,
living,
yeah.
right? What would
for
you do,
that
Mandy?
shit.
Well, what would you do, Mandy?
you wouldn't be paying for it. It would be coming out of her stuff.
This is a rhetorical question.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, fuck. Right.
This is more of like
They creating arguments that we're never gonna have.
didn't mean
Damn.
I didn't mean it as an argument. No,
you guys had that topic before.
I remember being 16 and the marketing director at assisted living said the hardest decision a kid could do is put their parent in a home, because they've always told them, no, I won't put you there. No, I won't put you
Oh,
there.
I'm going to one.
So I have
I
always
see their happy hours.
I've always told
Bro.
my mom and dad, you're gonna go to an assisted living. It's a reality of life. Like, look how busy you just talked about. How busy you are with taking bill of
Bro, what do
practice.
you ever
But
think
a
you're gonna put-
reality of life to your culture, I think.
Yeah. But dude, there's like the place where I'm
But
at.
can you imagine taking care of a parent on top of all you do?
See, I don't have parents, so thankfully I
You're
don't
a
have
bad
this problem.
example.
But it's the
But Sal
People
doesn't,
work 2-3
Sal doesn't
jobs.
even take care of like himself barely.
It's the cultural thing of
He's
it,
gonna
though.
expect like me to take care of him. I'm not
it's the
gonna take.
cultural thing of it though,
Yeah, take
because
care of
if you were in a Hispanic culture, it's just expected. It's not your choice; it's expected. We already know that the mother is going to someone's house to live.
Yeah.
It's not they're going to go live at assisted. They wouldn't have that kind of thing, and it just happens to be more of like a Caucasian, people that you see in assisted living, even at like skilled nursing.
Yeah.
You rarely see like a Vietnamese person.
Mm-hmm.
You rarely see Hispanic, and if it is, it's like the family lives there too.
Yeah, exactly.
No, really.
It's always a family.
It's like a family member's
I will-
always there taking care of
The
them.
thing is, one thing I've learned, and maybe not in my family, but a lot of Hispanic families are very about taking care of family. That's their biggest thing. They take care of family. Mm-hmm. That's what they've.
Sorry.
But yeah, I think that's just what it is.
Yeah, and it's something that's instilled in you from birth, so it's more of a cultural lifestyle than it is a realistic lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it's
See,
just,
and I come from the realistic view. Like,
but that's just how you were raised,
Yeah.
and I see both sides because
my
I
par-
have
I don't
both
think your
sides.
parents are
but
going
my
to any-
parents have been like, my mom would be like, please don't put me in a home. But the realistic view is there's just, if someone needs to pick you up
Oh, it's okay,
24/7.
she could stay with me.
I'll put her in a
She was like, something was wrong with her the other day. She's like, I was gonna call Sarah and get a nurse's view. I'm like, call Sarah.
She can always
would've
call
taken
me.
you.
She can always call me. I'll tell her.
sciatica.
But like,
Oh shit.
Stretching.
I know when they put their mom in an assisted living, that one of the siblings was like, I should have taken her home with me. But realistically, she would have been in worse care than being in assisted living. She worked 40 plus hours a week. Like, her living situation, like, there was no, she didn't have this stuff. So to me, it's a realistic view. Regardless, like, I get it's a culture thing. The culture thing is that it's gonna be your take care of. But the culture thing is a lot of Hispanic wives are stay-at-home wives. Like, it, to me.
So it's a culture thing.
That's why they're allowed to be cheated on and they still stay.
Exactly. They don't have opportunity.
I honestly,
they don't have,
I always talked about that. I was like, nothing better than the what's it called? An old school Hispanic wives loyalty, because you can cheat on them and then they'll still stay.
you can have a few kids on the side.
That's so sad. That's so sad.
It is sad, but that's honestly, it's
It's
and that's just the culture of it.
It is the culture of
Mm-hmm.
it. But
But
you know,
it's-
for me, I see their happy hour they're playing. I see their bingo
Mm-hmm.
nights. Like, they have it living in those assisted livings.
Which
That's where I'm going.
The only thing I have it upsets me with assisted living, because it's just how you interact with them, right? It's in a sense with the activities is like, oh, we're gonna do crayons, we're gonna do like, you treat them like kids. Like bingo, obviously great because they
They
love
take that
bingo.
shit serious.
They love bingo and stuff. But like when you do like kiddie activities, that's where
Hey, I like coloring.
That's where it upsets me, because I'm like, dude, have happy hour, because we do have happy hour and stuff like, but have happy hour, have actually adult things that look into what they grew up doing and stuff like, because this place that we're at, dude, these people were somebody. You know, they made a lot more money than anybody in that whole facility's probably made and stuff
Yeah.
like that. These people were loaded and stuff like that we're gonna give them freaking crayons. Like, come on now, like, you can't.
No, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I agree.
but that's the industry we live in, because at the end of the day, each person living there is $1. It's $1 amount. That's all it is.
That's anything. I mean, that going back to your numbers in healthcare, like,
Yeah.
do they tack COVID on also for the?
Yeah,
They
for
get
money.
paid more.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you get paid more for a lot of things. Like, it's a money business,
Yeah.
Life
So.
is.
right?
In general. So.
Give a plug to VNS
Yeah.
Creations.
Yes. So
What-
I make. Oh, you guys aren't even repping any of my tumblers.
I don't
we
have
don't
any. I
have
don't have
any.
any. You never made us any.
I almost came with a shirt that I
You
made
should
for us.
have.
I
I'm
know.
like, this was gifted.
Well,
VNS Creations.
well, you guys are actually the ones that made the logo for Just Another Tuesday. So,
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
appreciate
we
that. Yeah.
Thanks. But Venus Creations, I do tumblers, cups, t-shirts, a little bit of everything.
Check her
Side
out
hobby.
on Instagram.
Yeah, I'll plug it in on this and stuff. I'll put it on here. Your
After
handle.
we edit all the
There was nothing bad. We did pretty good.
Mandy and her whore.
Mandy and her whore. See, I'm not the one's out of
bleeped out
control.
whore.
Mandy's the one out of control and stuff. I keep it professional. I keep
I've
it to
been
myself.
quiet. I don't know what you're
I
talking
was
about.
pretty quiet.
Yeah, Mandy got pretty quiet during the whole Trump conversation. That's why.
I know. For your business aspect, this could be off the record.
Yeah.
Who you voted for?
Exactly.
I don't know, honestly. Here, turn that off.
I'm voting for Trump either way. That's where I'll stop it. I'm like, who are you voting for? And I'm gonna stop it right there.
That could be a to be continued.